I want to go to some breaking news from late this afternoon that a company called Energy Renaissance, it's a Newcastle-based high-tech battery manufacturer. It's been hailed by the Albanese government over and over and over again, being central to Australia's renewable energy future. Well, it's gone into administration. It's gone bust. All this despite getting $750,000 in your taxpayer money. Here to explain more is One Nation Senator Pauline Hanson. Always good to see you, Senator. Just before I ask you about this battery company collapsing, as a Queenslander, how do you feel about the fact that your Prime Minister and his Defence Minister couldn't find the time to go to Townsville this weekend to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War?
I think it's appalling, Steve, because they can quite easily do all these trips overseas. That Albanese has no trouble getting on a plane to go overseas, but he's not spending the time here. You know, I even hear him go on about gas and everything like that, and the people over there not getting fed and they're going hungry. What about the people on the streets here in Australia? What about the children who are actually going hungry every day, you know, to schools? It's appalling, and I'm disgusted with it. Absolutely disgusted.
Yeah, he should be there, and so should Richard Marles. This battery company in Newcastle, We've seen media event after media event. Chris Bowen turns up there and whacks on a hard hat. They all got their high-vis vests on and they're doling out money. What does this say about where this green fantasy is headed?
Steve, you know, the people need to know the dire straits that our country is in. I've been on about industries and manufacturing right from the very beginning when I was first elected in 1996, and I could see the writing on the wall. But I never picked this with the rise in electricity costs. And since 2023, 1,400 manufacturing companies have gone under, insolvent. More than 1,400. This is another one that's in the queue. We've had over 1,400 manufacturing companies have. You've had 30,000 small businesses have gone under this government, and over 1,400 manufacturing companies have gone under. This is another one. This money was given to them. They've been going for about 10 years. This money was given to them under the Liberal Party, about nearly $250,000 in 2020, and another just over $500,000 in 2021. Now, Ed Husick got there in 2023 and said, electrify, electrify, electrify. And they were pushing this green energy and batteries, which they've done. This isn't the only one that's gone under. We had the Whyalla. They were going to do the green hydrogen. That went under. That was to power the plant down there for the green steel. Then you've had also at Kurri Kurri. So all these projects that are being put out there, it's hard to estimate the figures. So I've read that they estimate that about since 2014 till 2023, they estimate about $29 billion has been put in subsidies to do with green energy. Now, my figures, what I've tried to estimate over this, I think is in excess of $50 billion. Now, the government has put in the last budget, 23-24 budget, another $22 billion to the future of Australia. But that's all these green projects. Even Twiggy Forrest, you know, he was going to have the green hydrogen, and that's out of Gladstone. That went under. He owes the government about $60 million, which I don't know if they're going to get that back. They're constantly falling over all the time. A lot of these industries and manufacturing are going under because of the rising cost of gas and electricity. Since 2000, gas has risen by 181%. Electricity has risen by 186%. My concern with this, Steve, is that we lose the ability to manufacture our own products here. That means we have to bring it in from overseas. That means our dollars are leaving the country. That means less dollars to provide the services that we need. So whether it be infrastructure, nursing homes, schools, hospital, the services that we need. And our welfare bill, social services bill, is around $300 billion a year out of just over a $700 billion budget. We're in real problems.
Oh, the numbers are eye-watering, Pauline.
Picture this. A battery company that Canberra called the future of the nation shuts its doors after 10 years, leaving taxpayers holding the bill. That is not a rumour, that happened, and it is only the tip of a very expensive iceberg. Quick favour before we continue. If you are enjoying this, smash that subscribe button and tap the notification bell right now. Most viewers have not yet, and it genuinely helps this channel keep going. It takes 1 second. Thank you. Now let us dive deep. Energy Renaissance was meant to be Australia's shining example. A Newcastle-based battery manufacturer, backed by both sides of politics, promised as proof that the renewable revolution could also mean local jobs. It received roughly $250,000 from the coalition government back in 2020, then another $500,000 from Labor in 2021. 10 years of operation, then administration. Game over. Here's where the story gets bigger. Energy Renaissance is not a one-off. It sits alongside a growing graveyard of green energy promises, hydrogen projects, green steel ventures, and battery plants that soaked up public money and then quietly folded. Add it all up, and official figures put public green energy investment somewhere around $29 billion over the past decade. Some estimates push that figure past $50 billion. And there is another $22 billion penciled in for green projects in the most recent federal budget. That's not pocket change, that's a small country's entire economy. Now let's talk about your power bill, because this is where the numbers stop being abstract and start hurting. Gas prices have climbed 181% since the year 2000, electricity 186%. Meanwhile, everyday Australians are being told to tighten their belts while entire industries buckle under energy costs that would make a small business owner weep into their spreadsheet. And speaking of small business, more than 30,000 of them have collapsed recently, alongside over 1,400 manufacturing companies gone insolvent since 2023. Think about that for a moment. Manufacturing is not just a line item, it's sovereign capability, the ability of a nation to make its own steel, its own parts, its own future, without depending on a cargo ship from the other side of the planet. Here's the part that deserves credit. This critique, as raised by Senator Hanson, does not point the finger at one side of politics alone. Both major parties backed these projects. Both signed the checks. This is not about red team versus blue team. It's about a strategy that prioritized speed over substance, ambition over engineering reality, and headlines over long-term planning. So, what's the actual cost of all this? A shrinking tax base, strained hospitals, strained schools, and a welfare bill sitting near $300 billion a year out of a total budget of roughly $700 billion. That's not sustainable, and pretending otherwise does nobody any favours, especially not the next generation who will inherit both the bills and the empty factories. None of this means climate goals should be abandoned. It means economic realism, supply chain security, and industrial common sense need to sit at the same table as climate ambition before more of Australia's productive backbone disappears for good. Thank you for watching. Your thoughts and opinions are much welcome in the comments below. Just try to keep it respectful. I will see you in the next one.